The stickers on the motorbike.
We've gone completely off script, but yes, we are recording. Hello, I'm Chris. This is Toby. We're fully defined. And I've just shown Toby this on screen that you can see now. And Toby, what did you think of this motorcycle?
It's pretty good, but I would like if all the red pieces are blue. I think all the other coloured pieces except the grey parts and black parts should also be blue.
You want everything to be blue. What about the decals? What's another word for a decal?
I think you can't actually see them you can see them on this motorbike. You can't see them in the one that you're looking at right now.
No. I'll put a big one on screen and you can put it next to the camera and you can point to them. Where's a really obvious sticker? Here. You can see these stickers here. There's a good one here on the front. And I said, why don't we do a tutorial about stickers in SolidWorks? Should we do that?
Yep.
All right. So I'm
Let's see the video first.
I'm going to teach you and teach everyone else how to do it at the same time. Okay. So what we need first is a graphic artwork. Now here I've gone to readbrickable.com and this is the best artwork they've got on that site. I could also try Bricklink and see what they have. This is 42132 is the set. 42132. Okay. Sticker sheet. Let's see if they've got bigger artwork. No, but it's probably a better image than this one. This is a real photo. This is also a real photo, but it just looks a bit better balanced, right, Toby? So it doesn't have those shiny highlights on it. So what I'm going to do is save that file. Hopefully I can save it as a PNG or a JPEG, which I can. So I will put that with this project. Hey, what are you doing? Remember, everyone can see what you're doing. Yeah. All right. So sticker sheet. So I'm just going to download that. Now, what I want to do is let's use the one on the front for an example. Okay. So the sticker itself is a bit smaller than the Lego piece. So we can get the Lego dimension or the dimension for that sticker from here. So we can see that this size is about 15.4 millimeters. So if we were to go on this part, just opening the part and go on this face, we can create a circle. So let's say the sticker should be about this big, Toby?
A little bit bigger. That's about right.
All right. So let's say the sticker is 15 millimeters in diameter. I'm just going to leave that sketch there as a guide. So the size is really what counts. Now I'm going to use Adobe Photoshop for this process. You could also just use Illustrator. I think Photoshop would be the easiest. And what I'm going to do is put in the sticker sheet image and trim out the one that I need. All right, so I've imported my sticker sheet into Photoshop and you can see they're pretty low res, which will be a bit of an issue, but for the purpose of the lesson, you know, you can always create bigger artwork. There's ways to upscale this sort of stuff. If we wanted to do that, we could. All I'm really interested in is creating a circle that's going to be 15 by 15 millimeters and putting that image of the headlight on it. So it's on its own separate file and then I can use that as a decal in SolidWorks. So I'm going to create a new file. I am going to use millimeters. I'm going to use, because I'm not doing print, I'm just doing graphics on the computer. I'll keep it RGB and a 72 resolution. I'll create that. So it's very, very small. I reckon we could go bigger. So I'm just going to go bump it up and let's just go to 300 DPI. It's going to make the image like marginally bigger. And now I'm going to bring in the same sticker sheet. So I'm not actually going to import anything there. I'm just going to drag and drop into this file and resize. And what I want to do is just get to the point where the circle itself, what I can see is all we can see in this sticker. Pretty close. Now, because the shape of the decal we're going to place into SolidWorks is actually perfect circle, everything that's outside the circle, let me zoom in and let me make an ellipse here. Let me try again. I'll start from the corner and go down. All right, so everything that's outside that circle is what's going to be hidden when it goes into SolidWorks. I'm just going to, while I've got that selected, there's another way to check this a little bit more accurately, and that's to do a shape, because I can use my ellipse tool here. I can do a shape and I can fill that shape with a color. Let me just change the fill and remove the stroke. Because this way I can get one that is the full size. As a just guide, that shows us everything that's outside that is not going to fit. So now I can just move my image so it looks centered. That's pretty good. I'm going to save this. I'm going to save this in the location, same location with the motorcycle, Headlight graphic. And I'm going to then save a copy and save out the image. Now, typically I'm saving JPEGs or PNGs. For this, I'll do PNG. Hey, Toby, where are you going? I'm about to show you how to put it on. Come on, come back over here. All right, so we've got our image. Now, it's probably a good idea to make a configuration that's specific for the motorcycle, because in this configuration, we're going to add a little decal here, and we're going to give it a very small thickness, unmerged, so it's a separate body. All right, and now I can go to wherever my folder is for that graphic and click and drag it in, and I'm going to apply it to the face. Now you can see here it's currently tiled, which means it's creating repeat patterns to fill that face. I'm going to click on the face appearance here. I'm going to click on advanced and then mapping. And I'm going to update the width to selection, and that's going to scale it up. And you can see that it's currently rotated. I can also change the rotation here, or I might go 270 because I think the white bit is on the top. Is that right, Toby, or the black part? Black part's on the top. Okay, so it actually looks correct. Never mind, back to 90. All right, press OK. Now the decal is applied to that body. If we were to hide that body, the decal's not there. Okay, or if I was to go to a different configuration of a part, the decal's not there. Got it? So there's different versions. I'm going to save that, go back into my assembly, and now in the assembly, it's not showing, but once we click on this part, and I click on the motorcycle option, press OK, it now shows me that configuration which has the decal. One thing I need to change though is the orientation. So I'm going to flip the mate alignment to get it around the right way, and now we've got a motorcycle with a headlight. We go back to our default display state. We now have that extra decal on there, and that's how you can add a decal into SolidWorks. Now that's a very simple example. Might come back later and do a couple of the curved ones. All right, let's just add a little bit more onto this before we close it off, close this subject off. So on the subject of the decals, the decal will lose its appearance. So the part will lose this appearance if the location for the image can't be found. It might show as just a gray face, the default kind of SolidWorks appearance. In which case you might have to go here onto the part itself, edit the part, the appearance of the part, and it's where you can see here the image path file. Okay, that's where it's locating that graphic. So if it's missing, that's where you would go to click browse and then replace. So for this motorcycle project, if I do include some of these decals in the files and you want to try them out, download the image. But then when you open the part, you'll have to relink this image file path to wherever you've downloaded that file to. Right, so that is one thing to be aware of. The other thing I want to touch on is like how we could do a decal to a curved surface. So this motorcycle, which I'll show here. All right, you can see it's got a couple of decals on those top faces, and they are like curved. There's quite a few other decals like these ones here, which are just flat stickers on the sides. They're really easy. Same as this one here. It's a circle. But the ones that are on curves, there's a little bit more complexity to them. So I'm going to show you how to create one of those. We'll get maybe one or two of those done and included as well. So there's a bit more that you can play with if you're wanting to give it a go. So we come back into our file, and just before I move on without the parts, so I should have done this on the camera, but the decal itself is not the full width of the part. It measures about 6 millimeters, and then the length of the larger sections about 32.6. So what we're going to do is on this part, and there is another complexity to this too, which is the mirror feature. I'm going to, because I can't sketch on this face, what I'm going to do is do a sketch on the top plane, which is the plane that goes through the middle of the part. I'm going to convert that edge. I'm going to select that edge and see how long it is. And it says that the length of that is 34.7. And I was suggesting that the length of the decal I could measure is around 33 millimeters. So what we'll do is I'm just going to drag that edge in, drag that edge in. Now, if we want to dimension something like this, we can turn it into a path length. Sorry, we can't do that. I want to click all three. So let me show you that again. So I click one endpoint, I click the second endpoint, and then I click the line itself, so the arc itself. And now that's going to give me a length, and I can put in my dimension. Well, so what do we say? 33. All right. I do want to fully define it, so I'm just going to give it a dimension for one of the edges here of 1 millimeter. Okay. And then I'm going to do a thin feature. So it's going to be very thin, 0.1, mid-plane, 6 millimeters. Sorry, that is the wrong direction. It's mid-plane here, 6 millimeters. And I'm going to uncheck merge resolve. So that gives me now a surface for my decal. Now we need the artwork. So we said 33 by 6. So if I go into Photoshop, I'm going to create a new graphic. Again, I'm going to go millimeters. I will have the 300 resolution, width 33, height 6. Let's see how big this is. Quite small. And I've got the wrong orientation. Image canvas size, let's change that. 71 by 390. Okay. And now we're going to grab this artwork, drop it in here, and I'm going to choose the left-hand side. I'm going to scale that up until it looks like it's filling out this image. Okay. Now, I'm not a Photoshop expert. I'm decent, but there's probably more accurate ways of doing it. But this will do me for now. I'm going to save that one. This is going to be called the body left graphic. And then I'm going to save a copy. And I believe we saved a PNG file. That's my left side. Now these are duplicates, so I'm going to go image here and see if I can't do that. I'm going to flatten the layers, and now I can go image, edit, unlock, click horizontal, I'm getting the mirror version, and I'm going to save that as the right side. Yeah. So we've got two graphics. Now here's where this gets tricky, because we have, in our assembly, we have a mirror part. Right, yeah, hold on. Which one's the mirrored version? This one. So the left one is mirrored. These two parts into two configurations and not to do a mirrored version. Right, so you can see the mirrored component here. I'm actually going to edit that mirrored feature and remove this component for that. It's just going to simplify things, I believe, for the decals. So at the moment, these two are identical parts, and both on a dark grey configuration. So what we'll do is we'll open one of them. This is the left side, I believe the left side graphic, and I'm going to create a configuration, which is motorcycle left, and press OK. And we'll see if we can do this without playing with display states for the part. So we have our surface here. And what I'm going to do is find my image, and I'm just going to create a decals folder. Now I think that makes sense. And to do that, I'm just going to close the open files. I'm going to move all of those graphics and the sticker sheet into the decals folder. So I'm going to open the decals folder, and I typically find this the easiest way to bring a decal in, decal, however you want to pronounce it, is to just click and drag straight onto the surface. Right, now we're doing the left side. I'm on the left configuration, so motorcycle left. So I'm going to grab the left one here and click and drag, and I'm going to make sure it's going to drop onto that face. And then I could select body, but that will do it to all sides of the body. I just want to do face. And then I want to get a view that's going to be aligned basically with the image that I was working on in Photoshop. And don't worry about the darkness here. That can be to do with the scene that we see. So if I turn on these extra lights, that brightens the whole thing up. I'm going to click edit the face decal, go to advanced, go to mapping. And I want to do projection, but I want to go to current view. This is the closest view to what is there currently. I'm going to fit width to the selection. Now, SolidWorks has this bit of a bug where it's going to fit the width, but it's actually fitting the length, and it kind of, instead of going to the rectangular shape that the image actually is, just goes to a square. So you've got to uncheck fixed aspect ratio, fit height to selection, but you see they're kind of swapped around. So I'm going to swap this one to 6, this one to 33, and now we get it spread out the right way. Now, one thing you can tell, definitely difference to the real thing. I'm going to bring it up here. You're seeing this one, or even if we look here, the grey is not nearly as dark in the actual graphic, but that's simply a matter of tweaking the Photoshop file, okay, to get it to a closer match. So we could probably do that if we wanted to. I'm going to press the tick here, and now that decal is applied, you can see the decal is matching the curved surface. All right. Now, if I want to try brightening that graphic, I'll have to go back into here and to that headlight graphic image. Wrong graphic. I want the body graphic one. Open up that image. I'm going to flatten the image. I'm going to zoom in, and I'm just going to brighten the whole thing. My computer, please speed up adjustments, brightness, much brighter, less contrast, hue and saturation update as well. A little bit more saturated, a little bit lighter. All right, save this graphic and then save and copy as body graphic left. All right. Now, that won't update automatically here. Again, actually, and another annoying bug, it seems like SolidWorks will cache the image. So even though the graphic has updated, if I go here to appearances and I see that image path and I click browse and I go to decals and I find the updated image, you can see in the preview here, there's definitely a lightness difference. Press open, it doesn't actually change the graphic. It's incredibly frustrating. The only fix that I've seen is to change the name of the file. So I'm going to go body graphic 2, all right, and let's now try the same thing. I'm going to edit that face appearance, image file path. I think I just put a 2 on the end of it. Yeah. I'm just going to put a 2 on the name here and go enter. Let's see if that works. Yeah. And then it's light in that graphic. Okay. Again, not a great color match, but you get the idea with the decal. Now, to finish off this tutorial here, I'm going to save this, go back into the assembly. I'm going to select the one on the left, and I'm going to change this configuration to be motorcycle left. So now that version has the decal. For this side, I'm going to have to create another version, which will have a different decal applied. So I'm going to go motorcycle right. Okay. Let me go into Photoshop. I'm going to flatten this image, create a mirror, and save this one as saved over the right graphic. Now, because I haven't previously loaded the right graphic into SolidWorks, it doesn't have to have a different name. Again, stupid thing, but it's true. So let's look at that same view. So we've got a top view. I'm going to edit this appearance. I'm going to go browse on the image path. I'm going to pick the right graphic, press open, and you may have to rescale. You see how it's kind of shifted in its size. So if I go to mapping, you can see the numbers gone to 6.4 and 35. We also want to bring that back to 6 and 33. That's okay, save. Now let's just check the two configurations. So motorcycle right, motorcycle left, good. And the original dark gray, good. All right, close the file, back into assembly, change this configuration to motorcycle right, and there we have our decals. And the front one is still showing for now, which is good too. All right, so that now wraps it up. Let's cut back to Toby. All right, thanks. You want to say thanks for watching?
Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Hey, thanks for watching the video all the way to the end. If you enjoyed it, please like and share. If you've got any suggestions for other content, leave it in the comments below. If you haven't already, please subscribe. And there's some other videos here. Check out. Thanks.